So let's dive into debate number one on the Newshour tonight, and let's ask the people, could the politicians have acted earlier? Does it take for a sea of humanity and a protest like the Makkal movement to wake the polity up towards the cause of the people and to restore Tamil pride? Joining us on the debate this evening, Sambit Patra of the BJP, K. Pandiarajan, Minister of School Education and Sports and Youth Welfare, Tamil Nadu, A. Sarvanan of the DMK, Gauri Mulekhi, advisor to Maneka, Gandhi and also animal rights activist, Sanjana Galrani, actor. Joining us from Bengaluru, M.R. Venkatesh and Chinmayi Sripaada join us, along with Nassar, actor and president of the South Indian Film Artists Association, who came out in full strength, the Tamil film fraternity, and said, we do not want the spotlight, it belongs to the people. And Mr. Nassar, I'm going to start with you. Good evening. It's a big moment. It's a huge moment for the Tamil people. And kudos to you that you kept the spotlight trained where it should be, on the masses.
Yes, again the kudos, the appreciation, respect all goes to these youngsters who collected together very organically. There was no, nobody provoked. I mean, there was no leader, there was no guide, but they all joined. They all joined together to show their expression. This never happened in the history of modern post-independent Tamil Nadu. So it's a great thing. Because we we supported them. Actually, they were the one who protested, and we have to support. It is our duty to support them. So the kudos go to them.
Mr. Pandiarajan, the question many are asking is, did the state government not have enough information? Did they not have the legal advice? Why did it take you so long, and only after the centre and the Attorney General actually came out with the fact that the 7th schedule, second list, 33rd entry is the entry for sport and regional sports is something that you as the state government can formulate guidelines for? Why did all this work on the ordinance not start before? Because this judgment of the Supreme Court came in 2014. You had so much time to actually approach the central government in the last 2 years. Why wait for so long, and why wait for the Makkal movement really to take to the streets of Tamil Nadu before you actually acted?
No, let me say this. The origin of this issue was 11/7/2011, when the DMK Congress government brought in through a notification the domestic bull as part of that section in prevention of cruelty to animals. That is the beginning of this issue, which blocked Jallikattu in some sense. And the court, Supreme Court, ratified this notification and made Jallikattu illegal as late as May 7th, 2016. And in my sense, in the clear culprit here, which all the Makkal movement people acknowledge clearly, is the DMK Congress government, which clearly brought the domestic bull into a cluster they
Mr.
don't really belong to.
Was
and
that the origin, sir?
Answering a question, yes.
Mr. Pandiarajan, was that
the origin? Yeah, it was clearly the origin.
Please hear me out, sir. Was that the origin,
clearly.
Or was that the result of what had happened? What had happened in Madurai, wherein a father lost a son and raised and challenged the fact that this sport had come down to a level where it was taking lives. Was that the origin, or was the notification in 2011 the origin? Sir, the point tonight, what I'm trying to make is somebody across the political spectrum, be it the AIADMK, be it the DMK or whoever, has to take responsibility that culture degraded itself to a level of cruelty which became a sore point with a lot of people, and it was raised. If Jallikattu had not become an issue where the sport had turned cruel, if there was not violence or if there was not cruelty meted out, and had it not gone down to the level where it went unbridled and unchecked as to what was happening in the guise of a sport, do you think there would have been a reason to raise an objection against Jallikattu? And I'm going to ask you this and also get Sarvanan into.
So let me also complete the question that was asked to me. The question that you asked to me is that why couldn't the state government brought in an ordinance earlier, and why, if it was really within our preserve? Here 2011 is the beginning. 2006 judgment of Justice Bhanumati was in a specific context. Okay, you're right, the context of a child losing the life or whatever. But after that, 2006 to 2011, there was much water which went down. I mean, you really
did the
had
sport improve? Did the
DMK
safety
Congress
mechanisms improve?
bringing
Did the establishment, the powers that
Absolutely, there was
be
really no-
DMK or the powers
Listen.
who are in opposition, did they take the responsibility to say we'll ensure that Jallikattu is tradition, Jallikattu is custom, it does not denigrate into cruelty?
Yeah.
Gauri Mulekhi?
No, listen,
did that-
absolutely, this is a over-projected kind of a statement that there is so much of violence and things like that. It's a
Okay.
completely Patra-inspired kind of a story,
If I may
which has
come in
no
here,
truth in basis.
I'll make a few quick
This entire,
submissions.
no, let me
I'll
complete.
make a few quick submissions.
No, let
So
me
it's all
quickly
Pita
respond
inspired,
to
Gauri
this.
Mulekhi.
Let me
It's all
quickly respond to the
Pita
question which is
inspired.
asked.
The
So here
organizers,
is the BJP government,
the local
which committed to
establishment, the
bring in
local
the
leaders, the
amendment.
MLAs, the councillors who watched all of it happen right under their very noses, who allowed that to happen in the guise of Jallikattu outright
I think it's
cruelty. They all absolve themselves tonight. They all say blame it on
There's
Pita.
nothing like, listen, this is a completely wrong thing which is being planted
In fact,
out
it's a brilliant
there.
day.
In the sense,
It's a massive
this whole-
celebration, and deservedly so. In fact, today we have been able to prove that the Supreme Court of India is irrelevant to the country. The Constitution of India is irrelevant to the country.
How can you
In
say
fact,
that?
Every time
How can
a
you
mob
say that,
gathers,
Gauri
we can
Mulekhi?
change the law.
How can
We
you
can
make
do
that
anything.
statement? The
And
government has
really-
first
every
approached the
time-
Supreme
every
Court
time
this
people
morning.
gather-
In
Not
fact,
really.
the government
There is an
directed the
organization.
Attorney
No,
General to
listen.
seek time
Even-
from the
even-
Supreme
now,
Court.
I
It is
am
only after the
thinking-
Supreme
I
Court
am
agreed
thinking-
to
Here's
give
an
it time for
organization.
7
I
days
am
that this
saying
entire
there were a
issue has been resolved.
No,
So
let
how
me
can you
finish
say the
this.
Supreme Court
Here
is
is an organization
irrelevant? We just had the
which
law
is being
minister on the show.
completely driven by
Clearly
commercial
said that this is
interests,
not
Please hear me
about
out.
setting a
Banned in
precedent.
many
This
places.
is
You
about
have to hear
bowing
me out if
down
you've
to
got
the
me on the
people's
show.
sentiment.
You will have to hear my answer.
Yes, but let me set the record straight.
you need to allow me
it
to
may have
complete the
escaped your
question.
My
attention
answer.
that the
First of
Supreme
all,
Court
the judgment
doors were knocked
is
by the government.
purview.
The Attorney General
There
went
is-
to the
the
Supreme Court.
Constitution says
That's the
that
point I
any
wanted to
law-
make to you. Go on, Gauri Mulekhi.
Your question on jurisdiction of the
Okay.
state government,
Now
why couldn't you have done an
currently,
ordinance
as on-
earlier?
as
That's a
on
question
right
you began
now,
with.
The Supreme
Let me respond
Court's
to that.
judgment was, now if I may just answer this. Can I just answer this? We found a way,
No, but
we
let me
found
first
a
complete the
shortcut
answer that
to
you
get
started
an
with.
ordinance. Let us first just wait and see if it withstands judicial scrutiny. Let us see whether it withstands judicial scrutiny. Ordinances can be brought in. Even last month there was a 7-judge bench which reiterated that all ordinances are within the judicial purview. They may be scrutinized. Let us see if that happens. But
Are you
what we have
saying
established
state
today is that every
legislatures
time
and parliament
people
do not
gather,
have the right to
then
pass laws,
shortcuts will
Gauri
be found.
Mulekhi? That's
In
a very
fact, I am
strong
saying-
statement. Pandiarajan, do
What I
state
am
assemblies
saying-
not have the
You
power
can-
to pass
of course they can pass
legislation?
laws, but they cannot pass laws.
No.
Please tell me.
Here,
Okay,
the BJP government clearly,
The law
BJP
that we have
government clearly
proposed to pass is
convinced
that
us
there would be
that they're going to bring an
Jallikattu
amendment
without
in the
cruelty.
parliament.
Isn't that so? No, listen to me. Listen to me.
Cruelty,
You have
listen,
to, okay,
there's
the
been-
law,
yeah.
the ordinance or whatever that may have, although I haven't seen it, but surely it would say that you can conduct Jallikattu but don't have cruelty. I'm sure that must be the language of it. Now please, I mean, that is so ridiculous. It reminds me of Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice, where Portia had to ask Shylock to take out a pound of flesh but not a gram more or a gram less, and no blood should fall on the ground. You know, how can you make a bull run without being cruel to it? If the nation is buying that, if thousands of people are collecting and everybody on TV channels is celebrating that this will happen, well, I bow down to the grace of this country, and I'm sure they must be correct.
Sarvanan.
However, don't feel very jubilant about the constitution being shamed, and I don't feel very happy
But
about
that is a
nobody
negative
is shaming
argument. That's
the
a wrong argument.
Constitution.
Gauri Mulekhi,
That's the point I was making with Gauri Mulekhi. The government has sought permission from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has been taken into
The
confidence.
civil disobedience movement.
You know, it might not suit your narrative. It might not suit your narrative, Gauri Mulekhi, but the Supreme Court has been approached. The Supreme Court has been asked to keep its judgment in abeyance for a week for the governments of Tamil Nadu and the centre to come to a conclusion. All those steps have been taken. The Supreme Court has been given its due respect by the government of Tamil Nadu, by the government of India. But the question is, Sarvanan, 1 minute. Let me get in Sarvanan. Let me get in the DMK perspective into this. Let me get in the DMK perspective into this. Sarvanan, how do you look at it? Was Jairam Ramesh, it was Jairam Ramesh and the UPA government that added the bull to the list of banned animals as far as Jallikattu is concerned. You were part of the UPA government.
Yeah.
How come it was not a matter of your pride then, but it becomes a matter of your pride now when the Makkal movement really starts on the streets of Tamil Nadu? Isn't that being absolutely opportunistic in your politics?
No way. See, it's a good question. It's a time to put the record straight. Whatever the obstacles may have been, but we were successful in removing the obstacles. We ensured that the Jallikattu went on till 2014. What did this ADMK government do from 2014?
No. So what did you do, dear? What did you do, Sarvanan? No. So Gauri Mulekhi, tell me this. One sec, Sarvanan.
We approached the court.
No. 2011. No. Sarvanan, what are you saying? Why did it get banned in 2014?
We ensured that there was no Jallikattu.
No. Why did it get banned?
You've done a Jallikattu of the central government.
One sec. Gauri Mulekhi, the constitution, the government, the courts, they're all there for the people. This is a democracy. There is a voice of the people. You asked, remember the first day when we picked up this debate, you said, where are those people who are arguing for Jallikattu? Why weren't they there? Why weren't they there? Why weren't they there in the courts? Why didn't they argue there? Please, now if you believe you have a right to be heard in the court of law, those people who are out on the streets of Tamil Nadu today, they are standing there and telling the country and the courts and the government and the politicians to listen to them and say, listen, you had a job to do. Gauri Mulekhi, Gauri, please, they had a job to do. These people had a job to do. These people had to make a representation. These people had to uphold tradition. At the same time, that's a larger sentiment, Gauri. The people are not saying that we are going to be cruel to the bulls. They are saying, allow us to hold our custom and tradition. You decide how we should do it. You monitor us. That's their job. They didn't do it. They didn't do it.
Tell me how.
No, they didn't do it. See, you don't need to show this attitude, because let me ask you, where are your PETA activists? Why were they not there in Chittoor and Chitra in Andhra Pradesh? Why aren't your PETA activists crying foul of what is happening in Andhra Pradesh, where Bull Run and Jallikattu is being brazenly violated? There are brazen violations going on all across the country. There are brazen violations going on all across the country of this law, with this ruling that you're saying. Don't just say that Tamil Nadu people have now
Gauri Mulekhi, and let me play out those visuals, Gauri Mulekhi. Let me play out those visuals on our screen tonight to show you that just in the next state, Andhra Pradesh, in Chittoor, we will show you those visuals in just a minute. We will show you the visuals of how Jallikattu in another form is being celebrated. Yes. Why does PETA not look at those issues? Why concentrate on taking on the tradition of one state? Why are you blind to Andhra Pradesh? Sambit Patra, Dr. Sambit Patra, is Jallikattu banned only for Tamil Nadu? Is it allowed for Andhra Pradesh? Is there different yardsticks for different states? And are NGOs like the PETA, willing to shut their eyes to certain realities and only open their eyes to something where they get the maximum profile, the maximum resonance and the maximum publicity? Is that the reason? Look at those visuals on your screen. Let me draw your attention. Those visuals on your screen, the bulls running, all of that on January 15, 2017. That's when it actually happened. Chittoor in Andhra Pradesh. These are visuals straight from Andhra Pradesh.
So here the bulls can run and see what happens soon after that. See the next visual, what happens. These are people running with sticks behind these bulls, chasing them, and then there are those who intercept these bulls and they catch them, and there are 5 or 6 of them pouncing on them. This happened in 2017. Where are the PETA activists? Where is the activity? Where is the activism on this? This has happened. Yeah, this is Chandragiri. This has happened in Chandragiri on the 14th of Jan in 2017 in Andhra Pradesh. So where is the activism here? Where is PETA there? Why is PETA not crying foul that your Supreme Court ruling is being brazenly violated in other states? Why is it that only Tamil Nadu is being seen? It's because the people of Tamil Nadu have come out and said, give us our custom, we will honor the custom and we will ensure there is no cruelty. And that responsibility goes back to the politicians and the authorities.
And,
if you want to charge
Anand,
them,
what's most important is these people have shown utmost responsibility. They've done it in a peaceful manner. They've come out, they've expressed their outpourings of sentiments, of emotions, and they've attracted the attention of those who govern us. You know, Sambit, Patra, these visuals clearly tell you a story. The question is, are our activists partially looking the other way when it comes to the issue of activism on cruelty to animals? Why only concentrate on Tamil Nadu and not look at the neighboring state, Andhra Pradesh?
So definitely you have a very important point over here, but let me begin by first congratulating the people of Tamil Nadu, the people who participated in the Makad movement, and Mr. Nassar, also the actor. I'm a big fan of his, and today it's my great luck that I'm sitting on the same panel as he is. And this is a great lesson, in fact, to the country today, that we cannot play with the custom and culture of any state of this country. And that's what we were doing. The custom, and such an important tradition which took place since so many thousands of years, was being curtailed in Tamil Nadu. But as far as this present government is concerned, I would like to say that, look, from the very beginning, right from the day in May 2016 when Bharatiya Janata Party's manifesto in fact came up in Tamil Nadu, we were absolutely clear with our vision. Our manifesto, contrary to the Congress manifesto, said that we will constantly work to see to it that the ban over Jallikattu is removed. Remember, this issue of banning of Jallikattu began from 2006.
That's a misstatement there, Mr. Sambit, Patra. Even very clearly, if you look at the Congress manifesto for 2016, they also said we will work towards lifting of the ban on Jallikattu, so it is not contrary.
No, but the issue...
Mr. Sambit, Dr. Patra, tonight it's not about he said, she said. No, it's not about this party did that, that party did that, DMK. Sarvanan will point fingers at Mr. Pandiarajan, he will point fingers at the BJP, and everybody will point fingers at each other. My point, Dr. Patra, is, sir, that why does it take a sea of humanity? Why does it take for people to protest for 4 days peacefully for the entire political structure to even think, oh, there is a solution?
No, I'll tell you. In fact, as far as this government is concerned, last January 6, 2017, we submitted a notification to the Supreme Court.
No, that was also a political move before the elections, Mr. Nassar. Sir, do you agree when I say that the politicians have played their politics enough, and it is when the people had had enough and they came out on the streets of Tamil Nadu across the state, sir, that they were forced to wake up and say, let's do something, because the people, Dr. Patra, sorry, I'll come back to you just a bit, but Mr. Nassar, when the people of Tamil Nadu at Marina Beach and across the place said 39 MPs of Tamil Nadu resign and come back to the state because you are not doing our job, you are not working for us, that's when they woke up.
No. You are absolutely wrong, Anand, over here.
Wait, Dr. Patra, Mr. Nassar, I'll come back to you, sir.
Dr. Patra, you said you had the utmost respect for Mr. Nassar. Why don't you hear him out before we can come back to you, Dr. Patra?
Okay. But Mr. Nassar, I'll just take 10 seconds. Mr. Nassar, with your permission, I'll just take 10 seconds of a valuable time just to point out as to when we went to the Supreme Court lifting the ban on Jallikattu, this is what the two-judge bench had to say to the central government. I quote, how can you, the centre, negate our judgment banning Jallikattu by coming up with this January 2016 notification allowing bulls to participate in the sport again? Your January 2016 notification negates our 2014 judgment banning the use of bulls in Jallikattu. Naturally, this government was absolutely clear and was fighting from the very beginning to lift this ban.
On that, I'll come back to you, but Mr. Nassar, the question is, have our politicians just taken far too long? Because when they came out with the notification in 2016 January, they could have actually come out with the same ordinance that they have come out with on the 20th of January in consultation with the state government. Why did it take them just so long and a people's movement to wake them out of their slumber?
Now, I know very well it is delayed. It could have been done a bit earlier, but it is. I think it is a positive note. This gave an opportunity. This delay gave an opportunity where people can show their reaction to the existing system. Otherwise, this kind of uprising couldn't have happened. I look at that way. Okay, it is delayed. I understand it is delayed. It could have been done before, but it gave us an opportunity to see the youngsters join together to raise their voice without any political intervention. Without, hello?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
we can hear
we are
you.
hearing you.
It could have been done. It could have been. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Nassar, we can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Nassar, please
So,
complete.
yes, at least finally it has happened. It could have been, yeah. No, now we are happy. Now we are happy. We got two things. One, we had an opportunity to collect ourselves together to raise a voice on or against the system, and two, we got a result that Jallikattu can be performed now. But only thing bothering, it is only a temporary solution arrived. We want a permanent solution. We want a guidelines how a Jallikattu can be performed.
Exactly.
Let us have a proper medical assistance waiting. We can have an ambulance. We can have. Please give us the guidance so that this ritual can go for another thousands of years. You cannot ban. You have to see this, the ritual side of it, the animal cruelty side of it. Fine. Okay, fine. Please give us the guideline.
That guideline is going to be
Even
part
now
of
it's
the
not too
ordinance
late. Let
because
us
what
sit
we understand
and
is
finalize a guidelines.
what we understand, Mr. Nassar, is that the guidelines will be part of the ordinance. There are amendments to the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act that are also being simultaneously done. That's the information that we have. But
Fine.
Chinmayi, if I can get you in at this point in time, do you think this will set a precedent for those who govern us to make them more sensitive to what the people's issues really are, people's feelings really are? Because this movement in Chennai, on Marina Beach, in other parts of Tamil Nadu has really shown that people can come and express themselves in a completely peaceful manner, and that is something that even the tallest authorities will hear, because that's the voice of the people that carries out from one state down south right up to the north, where the governments are sitting, where the courts are sitting. Do you think every time to express themselves people will have to take to such movements once again to make the governments hear them?
I think this is exactly the display of democracy. The people have spoken, and especially when there was no election happening, the people have spoken, they have raised their voice in an issue that they believe is close to their heart. And as it has been repeated oft, this has been simmering, and this is the boiling point of several issues that have piled on over several years. One being the Tamil Nadu fishermen issue, then there is a drought, then there is how the stepmotherly treatment, especially with regard to the water not coming in from the neighboring state in spite of a Supreme Court order, and then there is a confusion about whether the Pongal is a restricted holiday or the closed holiday, and finally then this Jallikattu is not allowed to happen. See, there are several anomalies. When the AWBI is the petitioner in the case, it has also been part of the fact-finding committee, which is a question that a lot of people are raising, that when you are a petitioner in a case, how can you also be a part of the fact-finding committee? In 2009, that Tamil Nadu Jallikattu Regulation Act was brought in, and after 2011, the Supreme Court came up with 77 rules that have to be followed to conduct Jallikattu, and these are the rules that have been followed by several organizers all across Tamil Nadu. These rules have been followed, and to make sure that these rules are followed, especially at the Vadivasal and every other area, the SP, the local collector, a representative from the Animal Husbandry Department and a representative from the AWBI are present there, signing on documents, making sure that none of the cruelty that they are claiming that is happening happens at the arena of the Jallikattu. In 2013, AWBI releases this. I mean, they have released a video to the Supreme Court claiming that the video is dated at 2013. However, there is a lot of difference of opinion there, because after 2009, a lot of these bulls in rural areas, they have all been given given unique identification numbers. They all are registered. They all have who the owners are, their photographs, everything is documented. Also, may I use this opportunity to state, after every Jallikattu event after 2011, after the regulations with the list of 77 points have been stated, a report has to go from all these 4 signatories, and I repeat, the SP, the local SP, the collector, the AWBI member, and an officer from the animal husbandry. They have to sign on documents saying that all these rules have been followed and everything, there have been no transgressions. So I believe there must have been reports and documentations for 4 years or 3 years. I'm assuming if this
But the fact is, Chinmayi, the fact is, Chinmayi,
the Jallikattu had been conducted in 2011.
Well, despite all that you have stated,
3 or 4. Let me just finish.
Yeah.
Let me just finish. If all these documents have to happen, then I definitely believe, and also in this list of the bull, the bull is the only animal which has been identified with regard to its gender. The lion, the tiger, the bear, the panther, and the monkey, whether male or female, is in the list of performing animals, but only the bull, which is the male of the bovine species, has been added to this list, which is also kind of strange. And I really believe that
all
if
these arguments,
these documents have been proved.
True. Fact is, the state governments who are representing and arguing, those who are representing and arguing the people of Tamil Nadu and wanting to build a case on Jallikattu, why didn't they put this all out there? And if there are people, if there are officials who have not signed, who have not done due diligence, MR Venkatesh and Sanjana Galrani, thank you very much for your patience. Apologies for coming to you so late on the Newshour debate. But the fact is, MR Venkatesh, that there is a responsibility and accountability that needs to be fixed on those who either did not do their due diligence, did not do their duty, dispense their duty, or did not argue the case strongly enough, did not put these facts which Chinmayi Sripaada is saying. If this is all there, then why is it that the case has not been made? Where are those people? Why target the custom and absolve all those who are responsible for not upholding it?
Why would you...
Anand, I understood your question.
Why would you exonerate the people who have originally...
Let us look at it from...
Don't
yes,
exonerate
I
anybody,
question.
Sir. Yes, MR.
Anand, I understood your question. Now let me answer this. Let me answer this because I've been patiently waiting for 50 minutes. Now let me answer, and I'll be given the same courtesy as I given to my co-panelists. Point number 1. Listen, the lady who spoke before me, Gauri, she said something totally unacceptable as far as the Supreme Court is concerned. I strongly object to such statement made against the Honorable Supreme Court. We may differ with Supreme Court. We have got every right to differ with the Supreme Court. Correct. But we cannot abuse the Supreme Court prime time.
Absolutely.
2. Please understand Article 29(1). Any section of the citizens residing in the territory of India or any part thereof having a distinct language, script or culture. I stop here. Or culture. Of its own shall have the right to conserve the same. This is embedded in Article 29(1) of the Constitution. Now this Jallikattu is being dated to more than 5,000 years. It has been found in the Tamilian culture for last 5,000 years. Even the Kangayam bull forms an integral part of the Government of India's sign along with the 4 lions. So please understand, these are all important issues that are part of culture. Once you accept it as a culture, I don't think so any government worth its salt must interfere. And unfortunately, the state government or the central government's representative, the Honorable Supreme Court, did not argue on this fundamental issue that this is culture per se.
That's the point, Sanjana.
Once it comes within the
point well
culture,
taken. Point well taken, MR Venkatesh.
The Supreme Court
yes,
can say.
Point well taken, MR Venkatesh.
No, that is the point. That is why you will find. That is why, no, please understand, Navika, let me complete only one thing. That this Luteanization of this country, of looking at what is correct and what is wrong through the lens of Delhi's elite, shall have to stop. Because
but that has been changed. With the Makkal movement, all the Luteanization of Delhi has changed, MR Venkatesh. Because you know the people on the streets of Chennai, people on the streets of various parts of Tamil Nadu have actually sent their message home to those who govern from Lutyens Delhi. And it is Lutyens Delhi that has responded today. Sanjana, the issue really here is Could that response have come earlier? We waited right till the people to actually come out on the streets and express in a manner without being led by any politics, without being influenced by any call for elections, nothing at all. Just people, their emotions and their voices that were heard right up to Delhi. Do you think this could have happened earlier? Mr. Pandiarajan, I'll come to you for the closing comments, but let me just first get in Sanjana.
See, there are hundreds of situations like these which happen, but when it comes to India, we have always suffered this particular position where we know that law and order in the country is always delayed. It's delayed to the extent that, you know, people have to choke and people literally have to beg for it or fight for it or come out on the street or get into riots. And, you know, this has taken a 96 hours of a riot for something like this to happen, which is, I think this whole situation is a very hypocrite situation. Why haven't they focused or targeted on a much more brutal format of Jallikattu which happens in Andhra Pradesh? Why haven't they attacked on a Bakrid which has millions of Bakrid across the country where you know, millions of you know, cattle are just chopped off so brutally? I think out here this particular animal welfare department has just looked into basking into limelight and getting things done the easier way because this was an older case. I think there are much more bigger crimes that's happening. Crimes that are happening in the country.
Fair enough. Pandiarajan, once again, why did your government wait for 3 years? Quick answer, Pandiarajan, because people in Chennai, people in Madurai want to know that answer.
An ordinance. The ordinance has to be the rarest of rare occurrences. Here we were waiting for the amendment to happen, and BJP government had committed the amendment. And for the last 3 years, we've been pushing for this amendment. They tried with the notification, which was an administrative order, that the Supreme Court struck it down. After that, they still wanted to go ahead with the amendment, and we were fully willing to support them.
This could have happened in a more easier manner, right?
In the sense, not really, you can't, in the sense, when the amendment is about to happen, which is a permanent solution, an ordinance can only be a temporary solution, which is what we had to finally choose.
So which
with the pressure on the ground.
Okay, so you're saying it's a temporary solution that you had to choose, and that's because the people built their pressure. Could politicians, could our Netas have done this earlier? That's a question we'll continue to ask. But at this moment, we're completely out of time. But the question we are saying is that people who govern us, this is your time to sit up and take notice, because when people come down to the streets and want their voices to be heard, then heard they will be. However much the governments of the day have to actually adjust themselves, find solutions, find ways to do it, they will have to hear the people's voice. And that's why we are calling this a victory of the Makkal movement. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on debate number 1 tonight on the News Hour.